So I picked up this Skidoo MXZ600 out of a field near my house, and don't know too much about it. Other it did run, but it was parked for a long time. Judging by the stickers, it looks like from 2013, last time it really ran. Other than that, it's just been sitting outside, kind of not covered. Got a nice rip in the seat. Tracks are pretty decent. And it's got 6,400 miles. Should run, but I gotta dig into it to see. It's in relatively good shape. So I'll lift up the cover here. I did tinker with it a little bit so far. Dragged it into the garage, threw a battery in it, and tried to start it and put some fuel in, but the fuel is leaking out. So like I said, the fuel was leaking out. So the first step is to pop this air cleaner out of here, which I already kind of loosened up the screws here. Right there, there's a screw, and there's another one on the other carburetor. This is the air cleaner assembly. I ripped that out of there, and it was leaking right at the fuel tank. This piece was rotted out, which is like a $10 grommet made especially for this. So I've replaced that already, and so after I replaced that rubber grommet, the next issue was the fuel pump, which is down in there. And that is not the original fuel pump. The original fuel pump is over here. And like I said, I had two of these machines. One of them already fixed, and I took a fuel pump out of this one and put it in that, because that one was a little bit more complete because it had the key, the DES key. So here's the fuel pump. And I tried cleaning it all out because it was full of gunk, and I mean gunk, and putting it back together a few times, like 10 times. And I'm gonna pull it apart here and show you what the inside of it looks like, but I could not get it to actually pump fuel even if I cranked and cranked and cranked and cranked. All right, so I just undid these 5 screws, Phillips head screws. Well, like I said, this has already come apart about umpteen million times, but I'll show you what it is. So you take those screws out, and you got some parts in here: diaphragm, rubber gasket on this side. Fuel comes in. There's little flappers, which I've already broken off one of them. In between that and the vacuum, because these are vacuum pumps, this is a vacuum line. It pulsates, and that pulsating causes fuel to be picked up. But these are an older style fuel pump, and the issue with these is they got a little check valve in them. I'm gonna have to put this phone down for a second. All right, so pulled it apart. The screw has to be kind of backed all the way out. There's little flappers here. You can see one there. This one's supposed to be on this side, but I ripped it out because it was bent, and I was trying to figure it out. So there's a couple layers here. This is the other layer. And this has got a little check valve, which is this little flap. Somehow it creates a check valve, so when the thing's shut off, there's no fuel going to the carbs. And then there's a spring on this side. Well, and then the vacuum kind of hammers on that. And every time I fiddled with it, and then when I finally mangled that thing, it was done. I tried to find a replacement kit, and I scoured the internet. Could find kits, but they wouldn't have these check valves. And I didn't really want to waste my money and risk, $30 and a month of waiting. So I gave up on this, and resulted in playing with some kind of Amazon fuel pumps. And this is one of them here that I got. Thought this one wasn't the right outlets. Tried again, wasn't the right outlets. So finally what I did, and this isn't the one that's in, obviously not the one that's in there, but similar brand. The one that's in here looks like this. Same style, same ports. They're all like 1/4 inch outlets, or 1/8 inch actually. So like I was saying, found this pump right here, and several models of this pump, and I'll put a link to the one to end up using. They have different outlets than what was on the original. These are like 3/8, 5/16, and I believe that's 1/4 or 3/16. So you can't make that work. So I had to get a bunch of these brass reducing barb fittings, and got the right end, 3/8, and then depending on what the outlet was on the new pump, just matched them up. And I'll put a link to that kit, but it was basically like going from 3/8 down to 5/16 and 5/16 down to 1/4, I believe. And then just a whole bunch of these. It's not pretty. Kind of can show you. It's a lot cheaper than trying to find the right pump, which they don't really make anymore for these year models. You can kind of see my reducers there. That's the outlet going to the carb. And then the only one that didn't need a reducer was the vacuum line. That actually made it up. And then if you look down in there, you can kind of see the reducer from that 3/8 line from the tank right into the pump. So it's not pretty. Got it all sealed. Took a little bit of clamping pressure, and that's the main issue. Carbs were bone dry. Didn't need anything. Had to put a new battery in it, obviously. That one doesn't fit in there because it's supposed to be like a YTS 20 size, and it's like a 21. So that's where I'm at. And I just got to figure out this whole key situation. Another important note is I got this thing, didn't really know where the keys were. Didn't think it was a big deal, but once I started to look into this and didn't know anything about what this DESS is until I started looking into it. And it's kind of like a security thing, so nobody can take your snowmobile. So I've got that issue, which upon some research corresponds to this MPEM box right here. So it will not run, from what I understand, without that little rubber key. But with the battery in there, it will. Just won't start. So I got another DESS key from another one of these snowmobiles that I got. I'll try plugging that and then we'll see what happens. So here's that other DES key. And I know it's not the right one because this key fits into that other machine that I was just talking about. So you got to push that on there, see what happens. It wants to start. Give it a little choke over there. And it's gonna fire off, I think. Fire, but what happens is it won't go over, flashing that right there. It won't go over 3,000 RPM, which is about what it needs to do. So that's what happens when you don't have the right DES key. All right, so I got to searching around, found on eBay a person nearby that will reprogram this MPEM box, and he got me a new key. So for about 100, 150 bucks, got that thing reprogrammed. Had to pull it out, just take out these connectors, and dropped it off. And then he had new keys. So just got this back. Like I said, I've fixed the fuel pump, fixed that leaky grommet, and the Skidoo should start. And I'm in my garage, so I gotta be careful. But I'm gonna try to fire this thing up. Here we go. And it should, like I said, actually moved now, which it hasn't moved in probably 13 years or something. Here we go. Chokes on. Let's see. Okay, that didn't quite work like I wanted it to. Sometimes these are... Ooh, that worked. Alright, so that was it. The issue was sometimes these aren't seated perfectly. And so now I just gonna get some patching on the seat, which I bought. I listened to AI, which I don't know if I'll regret this or not. Got some Gorilla waterproof patch and seal tape, and I'm gonna slap that on there next. Let's put this air cleaner back on, and I think that's about it. Once over the engine one more time. Belt is the belt. Doesn't look too bad. Probably need to put this toolkit somewhere better. Tighten these carbs down because I've already had them off, and to get to that fuel pump, put them back together, shove the air cleaner back on. Battery's not quite fitting in there, but I'll put a strap around it, and probably just put this thing on for sale. Here's that other one that I got, which is a little bit nicer. Mainly because the seat isn't cracked, but it's also a 500 MXZ, and it's a 99. I think it's got a little less miles, but that one just literally took the fuel pump out of this one, cleaned it, and shoved it in there, and it just ran. And I already had the keys. Threw a new battery in it because the battery was toast. Probably should open the garage door because it's a little foggy in here from the 2-cycle. So next up is fix the seat, button everything up. All right, so I just put the belt guard on, put the toolbox back in, belt guard to protect that, and the air cleaner. And tightened it up from there. Going a little fast here, but a couple little spots there to tighten. And I think I'm just gonna throw a strap around that thing. Probably doesn't need it because I don't think it came with it. I'm gonna do it anyways. And still got the seat to do. So I got some of these alcohol wipes, 75%. Wipe that seat down, and now I'm just gonna lay this tape right over it. Just lay it right on there. Pretty thick tape, so I'm gonna have to make sure I get a pair of scissors. Albeit not perfect, but better than a big gash and gap. I mean, I could have probably got creative and laid a piece in there and then laid a piece over it, but I think for a 2000 Skidoo snowmobile, that'll be more than enough. So that thing is ready. I'm gonna go take it for a ride. I do have one correction now that this thing's all back together. It's actually a 99, so 99 600 MXZ, ready for its maiden test voyage around the yard after 13 years of sitting in Vermont weather. runs pretty good. So one more final voyage.